Welcome to the Higher Energy Superpower. This is episode 37. Can you believe it? Of the Turbo Duo cast. I am your host, Salvatore Mata, and to my left is my brother from another game show lover. He is the oral assassin. He puts the ass in classic gaming, everybody. It's Trenton E. Wright III.
I'm an ass man.
Esquire.
Bam, bam. I'm an ass man. Yeah.
Welcome back to the show, Trent.
Or as they call him on the Jack's Pacific figure, Mr. B.A.
Yo, that's right. That's right.
He had it on his butt, on his ass. It just said B.A. Mr. B.A.
Now he's known as the Scissor Daddy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And new guest to the show. For all of you that are seeing this here, even though, you know, he likes to put things in front of his face so you can't see him, it is the one, the only, Freddy Fazbear. Welcome to the show, Fredbear. Wow. For all of you FNAF heads out there, we usually have to keep him locked up in a closet.
FNAF heads?
Yeah. Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, jeez. You're one of those?
All I hear in this house now is FNAF, FNAF 1, FNAF 2. Dad, did you know what's his name? What's the guy who created its name? Freddy?
Scott.
No.
Calvin.
No, not Scott Calvin. He plays Santa Claus. Who's the guy who's like the bad guy?
Tony Robbins. That's the big reveal at the end. You take the mask off. Oh, Tony Robbins.
It's Patrick Duffy.
What is going on?
Who? Afton.
William Afton.
William Afton is the evil.
Yeah, it's like the
evil guy in FNAF.
The Vince McMahon reveal with the higher power. It was me, Austin. It was me all along. Well, that was disappointing.
Yeah. Well, you know, we don't really have Freddy here, guys. We have the one and only, the superstar soccer Salvatore Thomas Mata in the building, dressed up as Freddy, because everything in this house lately is Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach Plus. We've got books, we've got videos, we've got video games. I mean, you name it. We're gonna have posters soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Books on video games.
If you have a kid who is
books on tape,
looks like this, chances are he might be into Five Nights at Freddy's. Although
it's kind of the thing he's into, you know what I mean?
Suspect whether or not he should be into that stuff. But only the Security Breach game is what he's played. Right? We don't play the older games.
FNAF.
What are my games doing over there?
Don't worry about your games. We're going to get into that.
Are they really yours?
Yes, they are.
They are his. Well, thank you guys for joining us again. As you can see by the title of this, we're going to be talking about a very special game. We were going to do GoldenEye and The World Is Not Enough and kind of do a compare and contrast, a juxtaposition, if you will.
Ooh, if you will.
But we couldn't get one of the key members.
As in you.
One of the OGs back in the day. That's me being able to get Mr. Tony.
It's a big pull. You gotta clear out the schedule.
Mr. Tony's got a lot of walls to paint, and so we need to clear out his schedule so he can get here to give us our download on the GoldenEye knowledge.
That's right, Ray.
So in lieu of that episode, which hopefully will come next time.
Lou? Huh? Who's Lou?
In lieu, Leiu.
That's not something I'm into.
We're going to be discussing this because a lot has come to our consciousness right now lately with the House of the Dead, just because we got a chance to play the remake, which did come out last year, and got a PS4 release, also on the Switch, and we were able to find a physical copy of this because I don't believe it's available anymore it
was limited
for the PS4 edition. Only the PS5 edition, if you have a PS5, can you get, and we don't unfortunately have a PS4 anymore, so we had to get the physical copy of that game, which has been shown quite a lot of shade. Trent, do you know of this?
I know nothing about it, honestly.
Okay.
I didn't know it was, well, from what you told me, what it is, I felt disappointed just by what you get with it.
Sure. And so, we're gonna get into the original game. We'll talk a little bit about the arcade game. One of the ports, obviously, the Sega Saturn was the key one. and then talk about the remake. We don't plan to keep you guys here too long. You'll know by the time as far as how long this episode goes.
That's what we always say.
We're gonna try to get you guys out of here within an hour. First things, Trent. What are you playing? What is doing?
I was hoping you would not ask me.
Oh, okay. Well, we can move on from there.
Because I honestly haven't played anything.
Have you had a chance to play a little bit more of The World Is Not Enough?
I haven't.
You haven't? Okay.
I looked at a few games on my shelf.
You looked at them?
Yeah.
And you went,
You ever do that, though?
I do.
You just walk in and you're just like,
There's too many things, and I don't know. I can't focus on any one of them.
Like, I was like, oh, Booger Man. And I just, like, look at the back of it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, nice.
And then you end up watching Family Matters.
Close. Actually, I was watching Fresh Prince the other night.
There you go. That is your number one go-to.
It really is.
Yeah.
No, but I did that like a few times that's what I forgot to bring. Those Kirby Pinball and Solar Striker.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries.
I would just like look. I was just I just randomly look at the shelf and look at the games, mainly the Genesis ones.
You gotta have focus. It's very difficult. You gotta have focus.
I understand.
I almost think that we should create like some kind of a formula. Like I was thinking of this like years ago. Like you have like a wheel. Like one wheel's a genre, the other wheel's a console.
You know what? I don't have the self-control to do that.
I don't either.
It's a great idea, but I'm not in school. I'm not gonna follow an itinerary.
Yep, I gotcha.
Like I played The World Is Not Enough, and then I was like, oh, Duke Nukem. And then
so it's like a couple levels of this, a couple levels of that.
Yeah, and then I was because I hadn't played in so long, and we've been playing the Saturn one for I don't know, like feels like 3 years now.
I know.
And I just wanted to see how it compared to it. And I was like, all right. And then I started playing a couple levels of that.
Yep.
But that was probably like 2 weeks ago. I guess
I thought you talked about Duke Nukem on the last podcast.
Did it? Was it that long ago?
I
talked about it?
I don't remember. I thought you did.
Oh, maybe it has been that long. But yeah, since then I haven't.
Because I think I asked you like, how does it compare, and I think you were saying it's about the same.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Actually, you're probably right. Yeah. It's pretty much the same. I mean,
both ports are regarded as being good ports.
They're both regarded.
Yeah. Regard me.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I haven't been playing too much. I've been looking though. I've been looking.
You're in the hunt, so to speak.
They're there.
Yeah. You know what? They're right there. That's the thing. You probably spend more time looking at eBay than you do playing your video games.
Yeah, but I haven't bought anything on eBay in like a month. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. There's always a daily search. Atari Jaguar, recently listed.
Yep.
Sega Genesis manuals, recently listed.
We're all there.
And then I look at those too.
Yep.
But I don't buy anything.
And then you have a listing that you're hot on, and then the toaster oven goes off, and you're like, oh, I gotta go get there. And then the listing's over and it's gone.
Yeah, you're like, I've been watching this for 10 days.
10 days.
And then the last 15 minutes.
You lost focus. And
you're like, why didn't they give me another warning?
They give you the 115. They don't give you a 5.
Yeah, I've had that happen a few times.
I know.
I'm like, oh well, lost that one.
We've all been there. And you're like, oh, it went for that much? Damn it.
I would have bid on it.
Yeah, you're like, I would have paid that, Yeah, so it's, I appreciate your candor, Trent, when it comes to this. So that's fine. We all have busy lives. Sometimes we can't play games. I've been playing some games. And so a lot of that's been a whole lot of House of the Dead. So Sal and I have been playing House of the Dead 1, 2, a little bit of 3.
4.
Mostly 4.
No, we beat 4.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
Because you also told me halfway through the week, yeah, we're not doing GoldenEye anymore. I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I won't have enough time to play any House of the Dead, so there's that.
But you've played House. You've played.
No, I know,
House
but
of
I
the Dead.
have the one on the. I wanted to just like boot up the one for the Wii. House of the Dead 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get a feeling, because I don't remember the last time I played that one. I feel like years ago.
Yeah.
When's it like? I guess we'll get into it. When's the last time you played that one? The one on the Wii?
Probably a month ago.
Oh, you played it recently. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
You gonna take this off, little man, or what?
Or do you want to play with it? Well, no one told you that, huh?
All right. So we've been playing a lot of House of the Dead. I've been playing a little bit of Galactic Attack on Saturn.
Oh, don't you kind of always play that?
I always it's in the rotation. I kind of always go back to it.
Have you ever beaten it?
I haven't.
Oh, okay.
I've never beaten it, but I also don't use the double continue code or whatever. I guess if
I'm
I
trying to beat it straight up.
yeah, I guess if I did that, I might be able to get a little bit farther. I can usually get to stage 6 or 7.
Is there 8?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm guessing 8 or 9 is probably what it is. But just some fantastic effects in that game. And in fact, what sparked me to kind of go back into it
Spurt.
was the Sega Lord X video on it. So he released a video on it, and I was, it's usually one in the rotation. But
Are you playing it vertically or on the
I'm playing it vertically on the LCD. Yep. And actually, the arcade graphics are a lot better. In terms of the effects and what it looks like, the scaling.
Oh, I believe it.
For some reason, when you do it in tape mode, it does more of the graphical tricks that were more in the arcade. If you play in just 4x3 regular, it doesn't have a lot of those scaling effects for some reason. I don't know why. But I mean, that's any way you can play that game. I mean, that and Raiden are my 2 favorite shooters.
Now, I'm assuming, I know it's an Acclaim game, but I'm assuming they just put their name on it.
It's not an Acclaim game. I think it's a Taito game.
Galactic Attack?
I believe so, yeah.
No,
Acclaim published it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, Acclaim published anything they could get there. They were the dirty scoundrels.
I mean, if you heard what I asked, maybe you wouldn't have known.
You said they made it.
No, I said, you didn't let me finish.
I don't want to let you finish.
I said it's an Acclaim game, but I said, but did they just put their name on it?
Sorry. Yes.
Put your name on it.
Yes. Had to end around on that one. But
They're
yes.
like, yes, that's ours. We did that.
Yes.
We get the credit.
I mean, it's a great game, but I don't think it got a whole lot of play because it was a 2D game at a time when 3D was, bird's the word,
And it's a Sega Saturn.
I mean, do you remember that back in 95, 96, 97, when it was like, you didn't want to touch a 2D game? It was like, if you saw a 2D game, it had to be like an RPG.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask about a shooting game, because I never played a shooting game back then.
Just a video game in general. Everything had to be 3D. If it wasn't 3D, it wasn't cool. For the most part. Unless it was an RPG.
Well, yeah.
Or a 2D fighting game.
I mean, what I did back then, which, kind of boot myself in the ass for right now, was I would, when I got a new system, I would sell my old one.
I know. Well, we all kind of
No, I know.
Did that.
But I did, luckily I got pretty much all my stuff. Yeah, but when I got my 64, I was like, oh, I'm selling my Sega CD. I mean,
gotta get the new ones.
I'm not going to play those anymore. We're all playing 4-player games and,
Yep. Only the guy down the street who's got all the rare old games that was at the show is the one who kept all the old systems.
Yeah, he's like, I got my original 1989 Splatterhouse promo T-shirt.
Yeah, he was wearing.
I've never worn it until today.
It was Devil's.
Oh yeah.
Devil's Crush or Devil's Crush or
that's the pinball game. Yeah,
the pinball game. He just took it straight out the plastic.
It's like I've never worn it except
in
today.
2022, and he wore it for the. It looked like it was a repro. It didn't even look like it was an original T-shirt.
It's probably still in the mailer. He never even opened the mailer.
Never even looked at it. The whole whatever the graphics are just kind of like pasted to each other because they're they're folded in on one another. Yeah. Any pickups, Trent?
I got one today. I didn't bring it in because we were looking for a game for you. I picked up Legend of Illusion for the Game Gear. I just assumed it was. I know what was the first Castle of Illusion on the Game Gear, like the first Mickey Mouse one.
Right, but I think that's the Master System game.
Oh, they just ported that Castle of Illusion's the same as the Master System one.
Yeah,
and it's a Legend of Illusion. I was like, it's a Mickey Mouse game. I looked it up. And I was like, it's probably got to be decent.
I think it
was like a later release,
better
one.
Platformer for the Master System Game Gear.
$15. So I was like, yeah, I'll grab it.
Yeah, that's not bad. Game Exchange doesn't charge any different if it's a loose disc or the complete game. So
they say that
unless it's like a very
no, they say that, but they don't, because they had Contra Hard Corps for $145, but then they had just the game was $70, I think. Or something.
Oh, really? So maybe they've changed their tune a little bit.
It is on certain. It's not like a set in stone rule, but sometimes it's certain games are not like.
Didn't you get Gunstar Heroes there?
I did for
$40 or $50.
It was Gunstar Heroes and Sunset Riders for $40 each.
Yeah, I mean
when Sunset Riders, and when I got it, it was going for $100 in box.
And those were complete, or just
Gunstar Heroes wasn't complete. Sunset Riders was though.
Okay,
and that's when I traded with my friend for Lightning Force.
Yeah, that was the all day. I was like, dude, all day. You got to trade for Lightning Force. Yeah, because
Lethal Forces on the Genesis is. If you go back into one of our podcasts, you will find out it is not great.
No, that's a nice way to put it. So yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't do a whole lot since last podcast, but I did get, in anticipation for this, I did get the complete copy of The World Is Not Enough for 64, and of course,
not to repeat, but we did bring that up on the last episode.
I did.
That's fine.
I showed this.
Yes.
Oh shoot, forget about it.
Because we went over the Blockbuster sticker. I was like, yeah, you could probably get it out with the blow dryer.
All right. Well, this I didn't get until recently. I don't think.
What did it?
Yeah. Battle Tanks Global Assault in the box. Complete.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So now I have a game and a manual. So if you need that, you can take it.
I don't. Is it green? The cartridge.
Yeah, that's a green cartridge.
I can't remember. Because there's like Battle Tanks. There's like 3 of them, right? On the
there's
64.
2. Global Assault and the regular one. And then
I don't know if I have this one.
There's a PlayStation one, but apparently that's not as good for some reason. I don't know why. But this also has like the 4-player multiplayer, arena matches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, if there's a game,
but the campaign's supposed to be pretty good. So I'm interested in playing this. Like, I've never played it before. I didn't even really know about it.
Those, if it's not Battle Tanks or Army Men, like those 3DO games or 3DO branded games are pretty bad usually.
I don't even know what they are.
Yeah, they made a. I don't know. They just like pushed out a ton of like these like random.
I remember
games.
Sarge's Heroes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Those Army Men games and those ones are good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it's not Battle Tanks or the Army Men games, they made a lot of bad games.
And then the only other game that I got. I had to get a 3rd copy of this.
Just in case the first one goes and then the backup doesn't work, I got a backup for those.
I'll explain what this is. So it's Virtua Fighter Remix, and it is the the not for resale included in the console box version of it. In fact, I think this is the mail away. So for people who got the Saturn initially in 1995. Sega was providing a mail away for Virtua Fighter Remix. I think this is the one that was sent to them, sort of as almost like an apology, but really as in a way to compete with Battle Arena Toshinden.
It's like, and we'll throw in a 32X.
Yeah, that would only ruin their reputation even further. They might have been out of the game in '97 if that was the case. But so this is the version that was sent to people. Then they also had this copy over here that was the one that I've had previously, which is the one that was packed in with
cardboard sleeve.
Yeah, this is the cardboard sleeve, and then of course you have the long box, which is I believe a Canadian only release.
So they never put out a retail.
I think this was only released in Canada. It's technically an NTSC North American release, but I believe it was only in Canada. In fact, if you ever find copies of this online on eBay, at least when I found it, which was years ago, all the copies came from Canada. There weren't copies that came from Ohio. So it's I think that is. I didn't know that was the case, or I don't even know if it's been verified that that's the truth, but. From all I could see, that long box version is only in Canada.
Now you got them all.
They're so cheap. I had to get it. I had to grab it just to kind of complete that part.
Trifecta.
Whoa.
Cool.
You all right? You okay? Mm-hmm. All right. Let's not put that in front of your face. Let's put that over here. Salvatore.
Mm-hmm.
I think Salvatore has the most significant pickup of the episode, and I don't know if we've ever said that. If you've had the most significant pickup, so
usually you're insignificant.
Why don't we? So Salvatore, can you tell me about your interest in the PlayStation 3 and why it's something that you are interested in and excited about?
Why is that?
What is it about the PlayStation 3 that intrigues you? You got to speak into the microphone.
What gets your juices flowing?
What do you like on the PlayStation 3?
What are you playing?
What I'm playing?
Yes.
So, I've been playing Call of Duty Black Ops.
Black Ops 2?
2 and 1.
1 and 2.
Both, okay. Mm-hmm. Campaign? Zombies?
And you already owned this one, which is...
Well, I already own Infamous.
Which is a third-person action game, which is, one of those early PS3 pillar games for the PlayStation 3 when there wasn't a whole lot doing on the PS3.
Lord Infamous, 3-6 Mafia.
Sure.
Did I? It's still got the price on it.
Oh, from the
$3?
from the flea market. Yeah, a whole $3 for this game. So, what else? What is it about the PS3 that you really like?
I don't know. It's probably
Because you said you wanted it for your birthday. You wanted to get a PS3.
yes.
Okay.
And what was the reason for that?
I don't know. Just the way that the games look on it,
Yeah,
like on the PS3.
it's kind of like a retro new game almost in a way.
Yeah. I mean, I like them.
Retro
I like,
HD.
I like
Yeah,
the
retro
way,
HD.
I like the way the controller is because
It's kind of what it is now, right? I mean, it's like a retro
know.
HD
It's
console.
just, you know.
It's weird to say that.
I like the controller because it's like a little bit longer.
Longer? Mm-hmm. Or I think it's shorter than the PS5 controller.
It's a PS2 controller, but you
Right.
probably don't play PS2 that much, so I don't know.
Right.
Maybe it's the perfect size for a kid.
Well, my PS3 plays PS1, PS2.
So we're gonna get into that. So
Highly sought after.
Salvatore has been playing a lot of this House of the Dead stuff, and we played House of the Dead 4, and you also like Raising Storm, right? And
is that a racing game?
Dead Storm Pirates as well.
Raising Storm?
Raising Storm is Time Crisis Raising Storm.
Oh.
Yep. And so we've got the disc that has Time Crisis 4, Raising Storm, and Dead Storm Pirates on it.
With the gun?
That uses the Move controllers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Time Crisis 4 release on its own uses the GunCon 3. I'm not sure if the GunCon 3 is used for this one. It might be.
It'd be kind of weird, right? At least not have the option to use it.
I'd have to check the disc. I don't know.
Oh.
But would you say that, Sal, that's another reason why you really like the PS3?
Because of what?
Because of the shooting games on it.
Well, yeah, because you're using a controller. I don't want to. I don't want.
No. I don't mean Black Ops. I meant like the Move controller gun games, like House of the Dead 4 and Dead Storm Pirates.
I don't like Dead Storm Pirates.
You don't like Dead Storm Pirates?
I don't
all
like
right.
it. I don't like Dead
I've
Storm.
never played that. I don't even know what that is.
Dead Storm
I think it's great. It's just a campy pirate shooter, like
zombie pirates kind
rail,
of thing.
Yeah, like zombie pirates, rail
Skeletons.
shooter. Skeletons, swashbuckling caves. Like you think, like that's exactly what way you're thinking of it is what it is.
Yeah.
Time Crisis Raising Storm.
Raising Storm is
That's
balls to the wall.
Good game.
Yeah, that game that's the one that has is it I was gonna say Power Man 5000. What's the band that does the rock music? It's like Five Finger Death Punch.
Yes.
What's the band that does the rock music? Were they playing the rock music?
I think it's got Five Finger Death Punch on
Yeah,
it.
he sings the song like when you're into the game.
Yeah.
There's which one?
Raising Storm.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So anyway, Sal has this intrigue about the PS3.
Yes.
And so I said, all right, well, if you want a PS3, you can get one for your birthday, and we'll look for one. And we just so happened 2 days ago to be inside of the Game Exchange in Enfield.
Inside of the Game Exchange.
And they had
Not
they
only
had
were we
this.
there, we were inside it.
They had this.
Where we stayed for multiple days on end until we discovered the fat PS3.
Not only is that the fat PS3, that is a CECH A01, which
Yo,
is
it's Catch 001.
You know what you remind me of is like in the Family Guy episode where there's the weenie in the butt or whatever episode where Brian's on the radio and the guy just won't stop talking and he's constantly making comments that
Like that's the you're like this is a compliment, right?
no, like you won't shut up.
Wait, so they had this there.
They had it
And
there.
so my follow-up question is, did they know they had it?
They did.
They did. And was it priced accordingly?
I thought it was priced very competitively. Let's put it that way.
And it was priced very competitive.
So I'm seeing these go online for about $400 bucks, and I got it for
Sold.
I got it for about half that. Yeah, sold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Salvatore now owns the backwards compatible PS3 that has PS2 compatibility as well.
Well, I have a birthday, right?
What did I tell you he was going to say?
Huh?
It's just every day's a birthday.
What do you mean?
It's just like, for your birthday, we can get it. 2 days later, we got it.
Okay, wait a minute.
No, I know. I understand.
How was I going to know that we were going to walk into the game exchange and they were going to have this there? I've been following eBay listings for about 3 weeks, looking to see if I could find a backwards compatible one, and this was in amazing shape.
Hit the brakes.
What am I going to do? Hey, yeah, you know what? Maybe you'll have that in a month and a half. So Sal, maybe they'll have it in a month and a half, even though it's highly sought after and somebody's probably going to buy it.
If it was the 90s, that's what we did. Maybe in 6 weeks you can get that figure.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have it, maybe they won't.
Well, usually they had enough stock back then.
I understand. It's just funny. Maybe for your birthday, and then then it's SpongeBob 2 days later. Well, there it is. No, I know. It's sweet though. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. So
I can guarantee you're the only soon-to-be 9-year-old that has a fully backwards compatible PS3.
Yeah. And he's going to be able to play PS1, PS2, and PS3 game, all 3 generations deep.
3 generations deep. A gangsterdom.
And what I like about it too is like we talk about like PS2 upscaling and how that's an issue to be able to play PS2 games on a modern screen and be able to upscale it, and you got to use the component cables with a what's the device you have?
OSSC or a RetroTink
or a RetroTink or something.
Whatever kind of.
And the PS3 is really cool because it has pretty much the innards of the PS2 inside of it. It just renders it at 1080p. So it gives you that proper upscaling all contained within with, I don't think, any lag. So you get to play every game that you want on that modern screen upscaled. So that's why I think like I was watching this one guy on YouTube, Mystic, he's a PlayStation head and he's made a lot of videos, and he was talking about if you have a PS3 and a PS5, you have every game ever released in the PlayStation universe. Whereas if you have an Xbox, they like to talk about their backwards compatibility, but it's only like 30 or 40 games, right now that you can play on the Xbox One S or the Series X that you can play, and then even going back to the 360, it's only so many of them. So
yeah, I remember you had to like go onto their website and look up the games.
Exactly. So. Yes, technically they have backwards compatibility, but if you have one of these things, which again, it's hard to find them, but if you have one, then you have all of that gaming in one place. So
all the goodness.
Anyways, I couldn't pass up on it. I had to.
No, I mean I wouldn't either, but it's just funny.
Yeah,
it's a funny thing.
It's a funny thing. So I don't know. I think this is a window for Sal to open up some of his PS2 gaming and obviously PS1 gaming and PS3 gaming. So one of the games I'd really like you to play is Ratchet and Clank. The collection, because I think you'd actually enjoy that. That's a shooting game where you're third person shooting game, and
some Crash Bandicoot.
He's at the stage right now where he's just at the edge of being able to play games like that we're able to play now, like Black Ops 2. He's getting a lot more. What's the term for it?
Savvy.
Just adept, at kind of awareness and where he should be and spatially, and when do you knife him and when do you throw a grenade, and
using the dual sticks to move and aim.
And I again, I've talked about this in the past, but I give all the credit to Roblox. I mean, that's where he really built his skill in being able to use a dual stick to be able to control the camera and the character at the same time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so the PlayStation 3, and then you have Infamous, and then you got Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2. Which, for me, I'm not a Call of Duty guy, but it's got to be zombies. So Black Ops 1 and 2. And these games are pretty much dirt cheap at this point. What?
I think I have a case for Black Ops 2.
Oh, you do?
I think I do, now that I think about it.
Oh, wow.
I think I have it, and because I remember I grabbed
Trenton was able to buy, on his way up here, a copy of Black Ops 2 so we can play 3-player.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's Black Ops 2. And because I have the disc for, like, GTA in it or something. I'll check, okay. Yeah, when I get home. I think I do. All right, well, that kind of works.
But this came with, the charging cord, and it came with even an HDMI cord and the power cord and the controller, and everything works great. So it's just, I don't know.
Hopefully,
because sometimes when you buy things online like this, you just don't know what it's going to be like until you get it. How scratched up is it going to be?
Well, hopefully the innards. I mean, there's definitely some dust on it, so hopefully the innards are good.
So far, it's running smooth. I haven't heard the fan go off like really, really loud or anything like that. These are notorious for. Mine was an afterburner. I had a 40 gig, and it was just like you hear it go into overdrive, like.
only say that
You thought it
'cause
would
that's-
explode.
Yeah. No, I only say that. I mean, we don't have enough time to get into it now. There's huge issues going on right now. With everyone knows about you might not, but the
What's
website
up?
DK Oldies.
I've heard something about that.
yeah,
What's going on with that?
It's a long story.
House of the Dead is going to be really short, so don't worry about it.
The gist. Okay, so the gist of it is DK Oldies. They sell their stuff at like.
This needs to be talked about.
They sell their consoles and everything at like a premium, like double the actual what it sells for.
And why is that?
That's what I'm getting. So they do that because they say they completely refurbish their systems. So they've done that for a while now. Like if that would have been on their website.
What does that mean? Completely refurbished?
Well, it means they open the system up, air it out, recap it if it needs to be capped. If there's like bulging
They will
caps.
recap it, or
well, that's what refurbishing means.
I mean, the PlayStation 3, the yellow light of death is because of the capacitor issue.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, I guess at the very least, refurbish means you open the system up, clean everything out,
Right.
make sure there's no dust on it or whatever. At the minimum,
I mean, changing capacitor is more than a I mean, it's almost more than a refurb.
Or replacing the thermal paste on it because
Yeah.
that'll go out. So now they've been doing, just no one's ever really checked is the thing. No one's really ever opened their systems before. Now there's like YouTubers. There's a guy Review Tech USA, and I think the other guy's Jacob R.
Rich from Review Tech.
So you know him?
Rich is the man.
Oh, the past 2 weeks,
He loves chickens.
for the past like 3 weeks, it's been nothing but DK Oldie. So he ordered a PS3.
I saw his GameStop video. Why are we doing this, guys? It's only a matter of time.
So the thing is, people are, these guys they're ordering from DK Oldies, getting it, and they're opening it, and then one of them opened a PS3 completely caked with dust from DK Oldies, completely caked, and he ordered a backwards compatible one, and they sent him a third party controller.
Could be by accident.
No, he ordered a backwards compatible one, and they sent him a third party controller.
I mean the dust.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they have a lot of stock, and maybe, but that's one.
But this is like everybody's.
Right.
But so he ordered a backwards compatible PS3, and they gave him a third party controller. But only the official controllers work for PS2 and PS1 games. You can't use a third party controller.
I didn't know that.
So it's like,
What about a DualShock?
I don't know, but only official Sony ones work.
Why would
on
you
the
use anything
PS3.
else?
Well, that's another issue that DK Oldies, they just say it concludes compatible controller. It doesn't tell you what if you're getting an original controller.
And it's double the price.
And it's more than
That's Buster.
most often. So yeah, that's
So what are they selling this for? $600?
maybe, I don't know.
Holy jeez.
I don't know. I haven't looked. But so that's the whole thing.
You're lucky.
People are getting refurbished consoles from them and opening them up, and they're not doing anything to them. So it's like,
Are you hearing this?
so it's like a huge thing, and they're getting called out, and they're not addressing it. They just keep putting out more videos, and now like DK Oldies,
More videos?
like DK Oldies on TikTok and stuff. They put out videos like, "Oh, hey, you we got your order. We'll film it and we'll make a funny video about it." And now people are checking their consoles, and it's like a long thing. Like if you go,
I feel like I've heard this for a while though. Like, it's almost like white noise.
if you go on to Review Tech and like for the past few weeks, if you watch the first one and then you just kind of see it progressing.
So are you suggesting that we send this to the repair god, Marcelo Medini?
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing is like you never know until you open it.
I didn't buy this from DK Oldies.
No, I know, but I mean, you think Game Exchange opening it and
No.
checking everything exactly? So I mean, you never know with the system. You get it, it's working, it works fine. So it's like, all right, it's good.
I mean, it might be worth to have it sent out to Marcelo so that he can recap it, because that's an issue that
if it I mean, I guess at some point it'll go. I mean, it is 16 years old at this point, right?
Isn't that crazy?
Right. So I mean,
17 years old.
2006, right?
Oh, I guess 16 years old.
2005 or
Yeah.
well, 2023.
Yeah.
16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big issue, and it's like people are calling them out and they're not responding, and then instead of responding, they're just putting more videos out to kind of like not address it. It's like it's a wild thing, and so they're basically like the whole thing is like they're like scamming people basically that don't know any better,
Maybe it'll cause them to have to double down and get back into cleaning their consoles and refurbing them correctly, because now
the thing is they just weren't doing it
the
at all.
the scent is out there.
You smell that? Yep, that's a power
bomb. Yeah. But I do think that, getting back to the PS3, it's a special console because you can't play these games on the modern systems. So it's kind of like a locked system in a way. Like you can't really play those games anywhere but PS3. They do have the PlayStation Now, I think is what it's called, where you can play those old games and you can stream them from the internet. But depending on your internet issues, and there's something about authentic hardware too to be able to play a game on. So if you could put your PS3,
you technically don't own it. Unless you pay for it.
If you could put that PS3 disc right into a PS5 and play it off of it, that would be a difference maker. But you can't really do that. So, anyways, there's a lot. We can get into a whole PS3 episode if we wanted to, even though that's not typically what we cover. But
that's like, I was out after the PS2. I never really.
I got back in because of the PS3. When I started working, like that was my first paycheck. The first thing I did was I went down to Walmart and I got a PS3 with
Talladega Nights.
They had like the Blu-ray deal where you got like 5 Blu-rays in the mail.
Oh yeah, I remember
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, Talladega Nights
version.
Wasn't there one that like it came with like Talladega Nights?
Oh, I don't know.
Like,
I got Talladega Nights with it.
Yeah,
it was Spider-Man 3, and then I got like American Psycho. I got Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, that's when they were selling them for like $30 a pop.
The Blu-ray
Blu-rays. Yeah,
I know. They still, some of them they sell for that much. But yeah, so Salvatore Thomas Mata, the proud owner of a new to him backwards compatible
PS3. For Christmas, I want Mutant League Football. Yeah. And then my birthday, I want a PS3.
You know what he said? He goes, Daddy, I want a laptop with a new TV, and I want. What did you say? I want somebody to build me a superstar Freddy Fazbear from Security Breach.
What are you talking about? I didn't say any of this.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Maybe you were sleepwalking. So what you're saying is you want your own house. So I want someone to build me like a big room that I can do lots of stuff in with other rooms in it.
And maybe a driveway up to that room. Maybe a backyard with that room. Yeah.
I don't remember saying I want a laptop.
You wanted a laptop, you wanted a TV, and you wanted something else that was really expensive.
Yes, I wanted a TV to play my PS3.
Yeah, well...
You start streaming all your games?
You got to talk to your mother about that. Yeah, Sal's going to be a Twitch user and start streaming his gameplay videos.
He'll be the only one. He'll be the only 9-year-old streaming Mutant League Football.
Yeah, he'll get more popular than... His first video will get more views than all of our views combined.
I don't...
Mm-hmm. And then the other game, Salvatore, that you got was this here.
This is not my game. This is yours.
This is your game, I thought.
Don't give me that.
It's our game. And that is, what we just talked about, House of the Dead remake.
The House
Limited.
of the Dead.
There you go. It comes with the cool lenticular, as they say. And then we call this guy... You're not going to be able to see this, but we call this guy the belly button zombie because he's got
Cyril.
A massive belly button.
That's Cyril.
And then they had these cute little
these
cute little fold outs here that come with it, which is pretty cool.
That's all a distraction.
Yeah, for the fact that there's less gameplay.
Here's these little paper cutouts.
Yeah.
Here's this lenticular picture to distract you to play around with for a little while.
So if you guys are here, you guys know about the House of the Dead. The chances are you probably played it in an arcade at some point.
Dave and Buster's, if you will.
Dave and Buster's. For us, it was Vernon Golfland, where they had a unit there at one point.
Oh, the Moon unit.
Yeah.
With LA Machine Guns or whatever.
They had that was Gunblade New York and LA Machine Guns. Yeah. So Sega was king of the shooter genre, or rail shooter.
Virtua Cop.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the analog, the non-zombie analog is Virtua Cop, which obviously came before, and even Virtua Cop 2 I think came before House of the Dead. But House of the Dead came out in '97, got its release on the Saturn in '98, a very very limited release because the Saturn was almost done. But it was made by AM1, which AM1 did a lot of arcade games.
Virtua Fighter, right? Or is that AM2?
That's AM2. So AM1 did games like Wing War. Do you remember this? It was like a propeller shooting game.
Wait, where you're like surrounded by a helicopter thing?
No, you're like an old style airplane, like from like the 1910s.
But was it like a big arcade setup for it? Like was it just like a steering wheel kind of thing, or were you like surround? Well, I'm thinking of some game.
It's a good question. I think it had like a mission stick.
Oh, okay.
And you were fine, but it was like a 2-person game where like you were fighting against somebody else, and it had those Model 1 graphics, so there were those flat shaded polygons.
Yeah.
and you were flying over a city shooting against the other person.
Wing War
for the arcade. It looks really cool. I don't ever remember seeing it, but they made games like Wave Runner. So there were a lot of
the jet ski, like that jet ski.
The jet ski game, Motor Raid, I think was the other one. So a lot of the AM1 games.
Oh yeah, so it looks like a Daytona USA setup.
Yeah,
like
with side to side, two player,
with the two seats and a flight
and
stick.
And the flight stick, exactly. I mean, it looks super cool. Like I'd love to have the opportunity to play one, but a lot of these AM1 games never came home. They just didn't. They did. I think they did Zombies Revenge, but that was later when they became WoW Entertainment, when Sega reformed all their studios for the Dreamcast. But those were sort of their big games. And then the other one that they did was House of the Dead, which was, zombies had become cool again when Resident Evil came out. And this game sort of... So supposedly these are not zombies in the game. They're creatures developed in a lab. So they're not technically zombies, as the producer said in the game, but they're zombies, right?
Okay, bro.
Right. They're zombies, and so the direct competitor of that, when you think about that space, that genre space, you have something to say?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you just into the mic?
Yeah.
Just because?
Yeah.
Was Resident Evil. And Resident Evil, by the time this came home, Resident Evil 2 was getting ready to come out, if not had already come out. And so Resident Evil dominated, and so this was sort of that. Well, you want to play Resident Evil mixed with Virtua Cop? Go play House of the Dead
in 20 minutes,
right? And it was a fun little romp, but it just didn't have a whole lot of meat on the bone for people to want to come back to so much. It would be
I mean, it's the perfect arcade game.
You get to the arcade, you got to play House of the Dead or Virtua Cop or Daytona USA and get a round or two in.
Because you got all the lights flashing, the sounds around you.
There's something about that arcade screen that was just like a higher resolution.
Oh yeah,
the pixel density was better.
You were playing on, back then most people didn't have one of those, no one really had like a huge TV, and then those screens were like huge.
They were massive.
But they were still like really crisp.
That House of the Dead setup, I think, was a widescreen setup. I think it had a bigger screen to it.
Yeah.
And there was a brightness to that screen. I don't know what it was, but
those whole things were like
they were huge.
What'd you think about it? Like all those like arcade setups, like those ones. They took up like the space of like 4 arcade games.
At the end, at the end of that classic era, they were taking.
They had to be like 3 or 4.
What about like
grand.
Afterburner? You look at a game like Afterburner that had a gyroscope thing that you were in that was like twisting around and stuff.
Yeah, there were some that was just you were standing.
They had that
standing
one
with the yoke or whatever.
Right. They had the standing one, but that gyroscope one, I think they had at High Scores, which was in South Windsor, and that one was. That was ridiculous to play that while you're moving while you're, it's
like, all right, we just spent.
Sega was insane.
It's like we just spent $4,000 on House of the Dead. That means we only need 3,700 people to play it 2 times each, and then we'll make our money.
I think they made money on House of the Dead.
I know, but it's such a big investment. Like where you paid like 50 cents or $1, but then I guess you got to continue.
Right?
You're pumping like $6 into it at once.
Yep, and I haven't seen a House of the Dead cabinet in a long time. Even when you go to an arcade, I mean, they're not at Dave and Buster's.
Well,
so
yeah, I mean,
usually you'll see I saw House of the Dead more recently there. House of the Dead 2, I saw at Dave and Buster's with a revamped screen. They have like an LCD screen that takes the guns.
It's the original House of the Dead or like a remade version?
House of the Dead 2.
Oh, it's not like an HD new version?
No.
Oh, really? Wow.
So House of the Dead 2 is a very quick game. You can probably play it in about a half an hour. And to review, I don't know how to review it other than to say it's a great game that is like quench gum. You're gonna consume it really fast, and you're gonna move on to the next thing.
And it's got the like the B movie.
It's campy. It doesn't take itself seriously, and that's what's cool about it. It does have its own flair, its own style. But it's not something that is for the modern gamer is going to be something that you're going to spend a whole ton of time with, unless you have other games in the genre and you want to play them.
Go!
Go, move it! No, that's Ghost Squad, which actually kind of carries forward the lineage. So, but House of the Dead was regarded well in terms of its gameplay. It's very competent. It plays just like Virtua Cop does, just with zombies.
Yeah.
The port that came home, if we can move to that, was a game that had a very short development cycle. I believe it was developed by a company called Tantalus Interactive.
Tantalizing.
Which is a good studio. Again, I should have my notes here, but this is where we've gotten to in the podcast.
Do it live.
They did not have a whole lot of time, and of course, House of the Dead 1, notorious for a very small run count on the Sega Saturn. It's one of the more expensive games today. It probably runs upwards of $400 to $600, depending on.
Is it
on
really that much now?
I believe so. I mean, you can look it up. I think.
Jeez. No, I'm not second guessing.
I didn't own it back in the day because there was limited resources, and I was too busy playing Dragon Force. But and Panzer Dragoon Saga. But that is a game that, if I had unlimited resources back then, I probably would have bought. And what it is, it plays very well on the Saturn. It's just that if they had more time, the graphics could have been a little bit better. The frame rate would have probably been a lot better. More like the effort that was put into Virtua Cop.
Yeah, I mean it's literally like a direct port. There's no like bonus stuff or extra.
There's a boss mode, so you can you
just run through
a
the
boss
bosses.
rush mode. Yeah, you can change the blood color.
So no,
you can get there's a code to get more continue, so you can try to run through the whole game.
Yeah, no, I meant
but there's
extra gameplay or like we got a couple extra levels or there's a different mission.
No, House of the Dead 2 had like a Saturn mode and a Dreamcast mode and an arcade mode, but House of the Dead 1 was kind of a quick and dirty port, and it plays well, but it's they didn't really put a whole ton into it, and they didn't give
typical Sega
Tantalus a lot of time to get it out. So it's actually kind of a marvel that we even got it, just because where Sega was at in 1998 was not a great place. But we do have the port. So if you can, I don't know if you can load it up on an emulator, but if you could, you can check it out, or just go to YouTube and look at video of it on YouTube.
I mean that's kind of the thing with like light gun games. It's like
their hands are triangles,
Well, I'm just saying, it's like with light gun games, it's like if you're the studio making it, you're like, well, this is a niche thing, and the only way you can play it is with a light niche, whatever. And you need a light gun to play it, so it's like they're gonna spend $60 for the game, and then you gotta plop down, I don't know, what was it, 40 maybe for a light
40
gun?
or $50 for a light gun.
So it's like that's a big investment to play a game for like a half hour.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So it's like
they're probably banking on people who had already bought Virtua Cop 1 or 2. Who had the gun already?
Yeah, well, wasn't a lot of the Virtua Cop? It always came with the Saturn, wasn't
with
it?
The gun, you mean?
Didn't
Virtua Cop 1 came in the triple pack in 1996.
Yeah, okay. So like some people, that was
and that
just
didn't come with a gun, and I played that for the majority of my time playing it as a kid was with the controller,
yeah.
and it actually worked pretty well.
Yeah,
but they kind of optimized it for that. House of the Dead wasn't,
yeah.
And if you don't have a gun for House of the Dead, it's a hard enough game on its own with the gun. To play it without a gun is
then it's like,
almost unplayable.
You want 2 players? Oh, that's another $40. You're looking at like $150 back then just to play the game,
Right. Comparatively, the guns are nothing if you buy the game, now. But
yeah,
still, it's
quite
the investment.
It's probably I'm just looking at through their eyes. It's like, well, we're not gonna put too much into this game. We're probably not gonna get that much back.
Well, here's the thing. And you look at 1998. All of their development kind of switches over to Dreamcast, because Dreamcast comes out in 1998 in Japan, which was the dumbest decision you possibly could do. They came out with the system in the market that Saturn was the strongest in, and killed the Saturn early. And then in America, where the Saturn wasn't successful, they waited a whole another year to bring it out.
Well, I mean, I get that was probably a smart thing. I mean, put it in 99. If they would have waited any longer, PlayStation came out the year after, but that's something else.
But they didn't have a whole lot of games in Japan when it first came out, because they tried to release it, earlier to combat and get out ahead of the PlayStation 2 by a few years, and they didn't have a whole lot of software that was coming out. So when it came out in America, they had, I don't know if it was 29 titles or 19 titles or something like that.
The Dreamcast?
They had a ton of games.
Oh.
So it was like you had a plethora that you could choose from to be able to play, and so the Dreamcast actually was really popular early on.
Yeah, granted, it was like compared
to the Saturn,
it was like arcade ports, so it wasn't, You had like Ready to Rumble, Soul Calibur, like stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, but you also had Sonic Adventure, which was more of a longer form game.
I'm just saying, that's what they're kind of known for. Is like a lot of arcade.
They were banking
ports,
on their arcade ports still, but then they had other games that were they had RPGs like Skies of Arcadia that came around, and anyways, we all know the history and what happened with the Dreamcast. But I think the Dreamcast it is their second most popular system in America that they came out with. Oh. After the Genesis, which is not saying much. I understand.
Comparatively. So anyway, how is this House of the Dead limited remake?
So we've been playing a lot of House of the Dead, and there's House of the Dead 3 and 4 are on PlayStation 3. So if you have a PlayStation 3, you can still download them on there. But you're going to need a camera and you're going to need Move controllers.
It's like so many extra things.
So that's the problem with House of the Dead is to be able to get to people more.
Oh, so the PS. Oh, you have to use the camera with the Move controllers.
Correct.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it plays well on PS3. The limited release is sort of an enigma in a way. It's depending on who you are. If you're watching this episode, then you might be the kind of person that would like it.
If that's the kind of thing if that's the thing you like, then that might be the thing you like.
Here's the thing. I like it, but I understand that I am a very, very limited quantity of individual that is actually going to take the time to try to tweak the settings and develop the right setup to play this game. So number one.
Oh, so you have to really customize it.
You really got to hone in. Because
for what, the accuracy of the shooting?
So this game was initially released on the Switch, and they had gyro controls, but those I guess were not great on the Switch.
I still don't know how it works yet.
So with the PS4 has a gyroscope inside the controller.
Yeah.
And so by twisting the controller, you can move the reticle on the screen to different parts of the screen and shoot.
That just seems awkward.
Yes. However, it worked well for what it is. Like if you move up to the right, it's going to move up to the right and it's going to be correct.
Yeah.
So what they did is they revamped it so that it would allow Move controllers, but the problem is they didn't optimize it. So there's these cutouts at certain points. You might be moving your Move controller and then it'll find a dead zone.
Yeah.
And so you really have to kind of hone it in. You got to hone in your camera. You got to hone in where you are. It can be an issue.
Like you have to go manually into the settings and do like the
sensitivity,
diagnostic test
how
or whatever.
fast the cursor is going to move, all of that stuff.
What are the Move? That's PS4. Are the Move controllers on the PS4 like the old PS3 ones? Like they're like a stick.
I have Move controllers that I use on both the PS4 and the PS3. They're the same ones.
It's the same. Oh, okay. So those are actually it's like a Wiimote basically.
Yeah. It works really well. Good. I wanted to wait to play it on PS4, and that's why I was so excited to find this physical copy because it's hard to find one out there. You can find one on eBay, but in GameStop I found it, and it works with the Move controllers. But if you download it from the PS5 PlayStation Store, you don't get the PS4 version, and my understanding is that the PS5 version took out Move support.
So you can only use a controller?
Yes.
Oh. That's an odd choice, but okay.
Right. Now, you may be able to use this little ditty that I'm going to pull out right now.
Pause.
This
little ditty.
Very little. And that's the PS aim controller.
It's the anal controller.
So this is not supposed to work on the game.
But what I did is I modified it.
No. It works as if it's the controller. So when you aim, for some reason, it moves like the gyroscope would move. So if you move up to the left, you can shoot. And if you move up to... So it's a working aiming controller. And the trigger works to shoot people.
So what are you saying?
What I'm saying is it actually works by accident.
Oh. But it doesn't feel bad when you're playing.
In fact, and it doesn't have the
It's just like a 1-to-1 movement, right?
1-to-1, and it doesn't have the cutouts like the Move controller does. So Sal likes the Move controller. He prefers that. I prefer this. And so I play
the big old shotgun.
Yeah, so I play with this thing, and I'm telling you, it's a good time. It's a lot of fun. The music, that's the thing. The music is really good in this game. They did a good job with the music, but people are not going to invest in this working on the setup, let alone the fact that there's very little content here.
It's just the game.
It's just the game. You have multiple difficulties. There is a horde mode,
which is just keep coming at
zombie
you.
bull rush. Yeah.
You know.
But you can play competitively. You can play cooperatively. And score chasing, that kind of a thing. And then it's just the game. And there's only 4 stages.
Yeah. So it's a 20. And how much was it?
$40.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. For me,
no, I understand.
It's worth it for me because Sal and I and you, like, we like railgun shooting games.
I know, but for that, it should have just been House of the Dead 1 and 2. You know?
Right. And now they're remaking House of the Dead 2.
Of course.
Right, and they're going to sell it separately.
For $40.
And you're right, like, why wouldn't they just
and you'll still buy it.
Why would
that's the thing.
I'll still buy it.
Yeah.
But they know I'm going to buy it. What they want to do is get more people to buy it. And that's the thing is, like, that's the part that upsets me is they know I'm going to buy it, but there's people, they could get more people into this if they did something really special with it.
And I'm assuming it'll be on the PlayStation Store. It's going to be $40 too,
probably.
just to download it.
Yeah,
right?
probably. And it might not even come out in stores after what happened with this one, because they kind of mucked it up. Because when you go on YouTube and you look up videos and reviews, people are constantly crapping on it.
Not that it's bad. It's just that you don't get enough for what you're paying,
and it doesn't control great. And they got to use the controller to do it. Most people don't have a gun.
I wouldn't. Yeah, so you'd have to. You're still holding like a regular controller, just moving.
You're literally putting in barriers of entry for people where they can't really get into this. So
that just seems awkward.
So I'm conflicted because, like, I love it, and at the same time, it's like you guys did. So history repeats itself. The things they're doing with this remake are exactly what they did with the original game.
That's how you get the authenticity,
25 years ago. It's the same stuff. So having said that, I love this series. It's a fun romp. I don't want to play a game for 4 hours at a time, unless it's Hogwarts Legacy, which we've started to play, which is a lot of fun for PS5. That's a whole other story. We're Hogwarts heads, but
Hogbogs.
We're Hogbog heads, but
House
of the Dead is a special series, and if you can play these games, then I encourage you guys to try them out. I would say if there's one game that's the best version of a game, it's the Dreamcast and the Wii version of House of the Dead 2. Prefer the Dreamcast version because the Wii controls are not as good, but still, that game had actually more.
It's 2 and 3, right?
It's 2 and 3, and there's other modes I think included.
It's like we did this 16 years ago. They can't.
And that one was done right, and that one was $29.99 when it came out.
Yeah, it's like come on, man. What are we doing, man?
What is which games have you played in the series?
Geez. So House of the Dead 2 is on what?
Dreamcast and Wii.
Geez, do you have it on the Dreamcast?
Yeah. Well, Sal has it. Remember, he got it for Christmas.
Okay, so, but you've never had it before then?
I did. I had it for a long time.
I would have only played it if we played it.
We played it, and then I lost it. I don't know what happened. Maybe in one of the transitions, moving from place to place.
So we've played it. It's hard for me to remember anything from it.
House of the Dead 2?
Yeah.
It's the same as the one on Wii, but the controls are better with the.
No, I have the 2 and 3 on the Wii, but
it's a great version.
I haven't booted it up,
Oh, okay.
And I remember playing what's it, House of the Dead Overkill or whatever.
Yep.
You had that. I remember we played that when you were in Columbia.
Oh, that way back.
Yeah.
Geez, on the PS3 or on the Wii?
On the Wii.
Oh wow.
I think it was the Wii. You had both. Do you have both of them? Or just the Wii? I think it was on the Wii.
I think it was on the Wii. I think I might have the PS3 version now.
And that one's pretty raw.
It's very raw.
Yeah.
It's very raw. It's another quick romp, but it's also very easy. Overkill.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to get through. I would say my least favorite one is House of the Dead 3 with the shotguns, and it's just very kind of slow, and some of the boss battles are just overly hard, just like trying to shoot. They do a lot of those obstructions in the way where you can't shoot at somebody, and so you have to shoot at certain timed intervals, and even then there's a bar that you have to whittle down for them to kind of succumb to your shots, and then you take down part of their health bar. So it's not my favorite one, but it's still House of the Dead. House of the Dead 2 has got to be my favorite. I really like House of the Dead 4. That's another really good one. House of the Dead 1 is great. The new one,
House of the Dead 4 is on what?
PS3.
Oh, PS3.
It's only a download.
It's only a download, so I definitely haven't played that then.
No, you'd like it.
No, I'm sure.
But Scarlet Dawn came out, I believe, last year or the year before in Dave & Buster's, and they have it in our local one. And I got to play it for the first time about a month ago, and that is very well made. That is a very, very good House of the Dead game.
You play through most of it?
I got through like halfway through the second level, and then they wanted to move on to another game. So if I had a chance, I would sit down and play through it, but such is the world. So I encourage that too. If you guys can see it at a Dave & Buster's, pop a few quarters, as they say, into House of the Dead Scarlet.
Slide the card.
Not even slide your card, just tap it.
Oh, you tap it now.
You tap it now. But that one is the girl from House of the Dead 4, and then the son of James, who's in House of the Dead 2. They team up, click clack, and bust some heads.
Click clack them.
Yeah. So there is a story at House of the Dead, but I'm not going to get into it because you can get into it if you're really that interested.
You shoot zombies.
It's contrived and convoluted and other C words. So,
ooh, I like those C words.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Any other thoughts, Trenton? Before we wrap up here, we're at 1:05, so or an hour and five. So we're doing pretty well.
It's the shortest of them all
so far.
No, not really. Wait, so what is do you even know offhand? What is the PS3 House of the Dead? You said 4? House of the Dead 4?
3 and 4 on PS3.
What are those, like $20, $30 or something?
Probably, yeah. Yeah. I would like to try House of the Dead 3 on the PS3. I have it for the Wii, and it's not great. On the 2 and 3 disc. Yeah, I don't know what it is. But I don't have any other experience because it was on the Xbox. That's where it came out originally, and that had light guns. That had light gun support. So I don't know what it's like to play that game with a real light gun. I imagine it works better than the motion controller. Yeah. Then the Dreamcast. What that was the whole thing where Sega where they made one overseas, the light gun, and then because of like Columbine was that year, so they stopped making the light guns, and you can only get the Mad Catz one. The Mad Catz one is considered like the official. Right. You have two of them? You have two of those, or you have two different ones? No, I have They're both the same. I have both Mad Catz. Well, you got me one of them. Oh, yes. I think that was from Game Exchange too. Always Game Exchange, coming in the clutch. So, let us know, guys, if you have any special memories of House of the Dead. It is kind of like that. You play it and then you kind of forget, really what it's about. But it's a lot of fun when you're playing it. If you ask anyone that's probably around our age, it's like, oh, what did you play? What are your favorite light gun games? Yeah, I think it's like, I think everyone, House of the Dead, that'd probably be it. Time Crisis? I don't think as many people. Yeah, I don't think very many people played Virtua Cop in the arcade. I don't think so. I don't think they would mention that one. Well, they certainly didn't play it on the Saturn. Yeah, I feel like House of the Dead was like the big one. Was bigger than Virtua Cop. Yeah. Wow. Well, I think people would say Area 51 too. Area 51 definitely. I was gonna say that because in the Eastbrook Mall at the Tons of Fun they had Area 51. And I think that might have been the only light gun game they had. That's a good question. What is your favorite light gun game? Ooh, geez. I don't know if we've covered a light gun game on the show yet. Geez. Maybe it is House of the Dead. That's your favorite light gun game? I don't know. You're throwing me a question right now. I'm just trying to give I'm trying to come up with a quick answer. I will tell you. I'll give you a reprieve. You can think about it a little bit. For me, it's got to be Virtua Cop 1. Okay. Is the best rail shooter of all time. It did so many things with the 3D graphics, the smoothness of the gameplay. That Saturn port was impeccable. In fact, Pandemonium Games does a 4-hour retrospective on the original Virtua Cop. Just what we need. Brings the original developers back together who created it on a Zoom call. But yeah, it's that game to me defines rail shooters. We good? Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. It's hard to. It's still going. It's just got dark. Mm. But Virtua Cop defines rail shooters for me. Everything else is kind of underneath that. Area 51 is amazing. That's another one. That's like right under there. It's got to be Area 51.
Like if I because I'm like doing a quick flashback, and I just remember playing Area 51 a lot because that was like we only had the mall was.
Did you play a lot of Carnival? Did you play much of that?
Not until because it was like whatever was in the Buckland. Right. I mean not the Buckland Mall, but the Eastbrook Mall. Because like we would just you would go there like at least like once a week.
Yeah.
And I just remember Area 51 being there.
I think Time Crisis would be right there too, like sort of underneath Area 51. And then I think House of the Dead is right there with Time Crisis.
Yeah, I didn't play as much Time Crisis, but I do remember like just like the duck and reload kind of mechanic was really cool.
Yeah.
And they had that like
that had a huge screen too.
Had the gun had that like the ricochet from like the clip. Like
we'll have to cover Time Crisis maybe as a series at some point because we can talk about even the home ports and how you can play those and how cool that is. But well, thank you guys for joining us. This has been a sort of our little quick hit on House of the Dead. Let us know if you guys have received one of these DK Oldies consoles and if you've had an issue with them.
It blew up.
I saw some of that stuff going on, but I wasn't like honing in on it.
Yeah, at your leisure, you should just look at a few of the videos and kind of get a backstory about it.
Wow. Okay. Things are happening.
It's definitely interesting.
Strange things. Oh, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Remember that all good things come from above. Be safe, be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it turbo.
I wish I was a real boy.
You've said that before.
But I do.